G'day folks, it's getting to be a little bit time between uploads at the moment and just falling behind on a whole stack of projects. Just had a few medical issues which hopefully this afternoon will be finally sorted and we'll be able to get into something. So I want to actually do a rover mower this time. Got the two I bought at auction back there. I'm going to use this quantum engine on the one that's floating around with a nice 19-inch cut base with a two-stroke engine on it, wherever I hid that. Might not be here. Might be down at the house. Anyway, we'll dig some out in a minute, and whether or not this goes well at the hospital, we're going to muck around with something anyway. Alright, so we've grabbed two out from out of the pile there. What's basically going to happen is I think this one's got some correct connection rod issues. When you pull it over, there's a bit of a... It's got a decent clank there. This one doesn't sound nearly as bad, but you don't know until it runs. So what we're going to do is I'm going to clean out one carburetor and run both, see what happens. Evidently, I think that one's going to get a new engine. We'll see how this one goes. At the end of the day, I just want to make one good one, but we might end up getting two if I can swap on another engine. So I've just pulled the air filter off this one. Clearly it's been dusted, basically end of the road for this engine. But we're going to quickly clean the carb out, even if we use it on the other one, and just start it up anyway, just so you can hear how horrible and loud and clacky they are when it's a bad engine. Oil wise, someone's put on different cowling. It's probably me, because it looks like one of my old mowers. And no one's checked the oil. This would be from a few years ago before I really cared about making everything really user friendly. Yeah, it's pretty nasty. Still got some in it. Alright. So for this one here, I'm pretty sure at least two of these Briggs & Strattons I've kept in the carport are reasonable motors. So we'll go through those after. But first things first, we'll clean that carb out and get this one started up. Righto, parts washer. Just start off by scrubbing the outside of the tank. Get all the loose shit off. Sorry, loose stuff. Doesn't really matter what you do to it at this point. Just, I don't want more dirt getting into the system than I have to. Got a bit of wind noise today. Apologise for that. A lot of smoke in the background. Apparently the fire's up north. So the smoke's blowing through, so there must be a lot of smoke up there. There's vicious to the fire, he's trying to deal with it. We're trying to deal with a 42-degree day today with wind like this. We'll probably end up with a bloody fire in 9 hours. Anyway, it is what it is. Carburetor throat is just caked with gunk. Pretty horrible, really. Alright. Grab a screwdriver and we'll start disassembling. This is just diesel in the parts washer. I use oil based chemical in it. Only due to the fact that if I use water based stuff I'd have to drain it out and leave it dry, otherwise the tank will corrode. His diesel's been in here for over a year now, and it's pretty filthy. It needs to be taken out and filtered, and maybe a bit more added, but this saves time and money overall, even though it's probably about $50 worth of diesel to fill it up from empty. I've got a little glass dish in here that's out of shot. Take the screws out. Come on, you little sucker. There's one. Two. Ah, shit. Got three. Oh, almost. Now, undoing these doesn't really matter what order you're doing the screws in, but when you tighten it up, you do try and work in the opposite pattern, just so it gets clamped down evenly. You don't need to overdo the screws either, otherwise you can warp the plastic carburetor. Little hints. I've never personally had that happen, but apparently other people have. Alright, so the carburetor is now loose. Look at the gunk on the bottom of this filter screen. It never would have run right, even if we had just gassed it up and sent it. Alright. So I'll just leave that under the flow of diesel. Now, I don't have new filter screens, don't need to replace them, give them a rinse. Oop. Yeah, diesel's starting to get a bit yellow, but anyway. There you go, nice and clean, in the bowl. I might even go to the point, I'll throw out this diaphragm, it's had it. Yeah, it's got a big tear in it. Wouldn't have worked. I'll throw that in the red tin behind. That's just a sort of garbage tin. For some reason there's a Victor G3 carby in there. I didn't know I had it. But anyway, must have been a project I stalled at some point. Actually, someone asked about a video on one of them the other day, so I might do that shortly, or in the next coming few weeks. Alright. Yep. Righto, looks much better. I will give it a quick blast of air through each passageway before we go chucking it back together. But I've also got to quickly wash it. I'd wash it in a degreaser, give it a quick rinse, leave it in the sun to dry. Our fuel tank is full of water, so I'll just let that fill up with some diesel. Ugh, yuck. But already, actually inside the tank, looks much better. So, inside the bottom here is like a fuel bowl. So there's a bunch of gunge in the bottom of that. Do our best to get rid of it. The air compressor is really good for that. If you can just get it soaked, get all the crap in there soaked in diesel to loosen up a bit. When you hit it with that gush of air, it comes out like new. So just really get it in there. I'm going to rinse this tank out a couple of times. And we'll just put all the parts out in the sun to dry, which won't be an issue today because it's supposed to be 42 degrees. I'm about to go and open some windows and get this carport air conditioned. outside of the tank's more of a cosmetic thing, inside's the most important part. Really have an opportunity, the air filter housing screw goes into the tank through this hole here, so if you get in and clean that one, so a lot of the time when people take the air filter bolt in and out, a little bit of dirt drops in there, it gets squashed, comes back out, a little bit more dirt gets in there, gets squashed, then people wonder why they can't get their air filter tight and strip the bloody thread out. Now that one's alright. These other screw holes obviously don't get that much dirt in it because the screws aren't coming in and out nearly as often. Now I've got all these bits clean, I'll just pause this. We'll come back once I've degreased it and got it ready to reassemble. Quick point on why this engine has been dusted. I won't pull the air filter housing apart, but I'll just clean it up while I'm waiting for the other stuff to dry out in the sun. And someone's had this air filter off before, put it in upside down, which one side of the filter is thicker than the other. So this skinnier part's supposed to be in this side, right? They've rammed the thicker side in there, left this big air gap here for dirt and dust to go straight down the throat of the carb. So that is one of the biggest killer on these Briggs and Stratton engines. Dust, overheating, see how the cylinder fins are blocked? Just from dirt and shit that builds up over time, and lack of oil changes. Oil changes aren't a huge deal. No, I do mine every 10 hours because I can. But there's people that'll run for a good couple of years before they bring it to me for another service. So, you know, you're talking about a good 100+ hours on the oil. As long as you keep it topped up, that's the main point. So it's low on oil. That's because it's burnt it from the cylinder being all scored, sucking in this dirt. Overheating, the cylinder scores as well because the metal expands, the hole in the cylinder gets smaller, piston expands, getting bigger. And just causes damage. So just a overall one simple mistake here combined with that has destroyed this block. We'll see how it runs. It's not going to run very well, I can tell you that now, but just something to think about. Alright, we've got some clean stuff. Let's put it back together. We've got a brand new diaphragm here, our carburetor, all the screws and bowl over here. Actual rubber gasket goes face down. You just got to turn it until you get to the right point. Just hold it there for a moment. Almost forgot our filter mesh that goes on the main jet. Okay, we'll get some screws. I like to sit them through. They've got this sort of thinner edge here that sits in the threads, just to centre our gaskets. Let's get a couple in there. I'll put all of them in. And then you can sort of wiggle it around. That way it moves, if the diaphragm's moved at all, everything back into more or less the right position. Now I didn't pull the spring off the bottom of the carburetor, it's still there. So I'll start off with this one here. I'll go over to this one here. And I'll go over to this side here. Now it'd be easier if it was, say, 6 bolts holding it on, or 6 screws. but you get the point. Come across the other side. I'm not talking the shit out of them. That one's good. Alright, so now we've got what should be a working carburetor. Well, I didn't replace the primer bulb, it seems okay. If they get really hard and they take forever to come back out, yeah, then I'll pull it apart. But no cracks, it's in good shape. Just going to move this throttle cable out of the way. Only going to leave it disconnected. We've got dirt in the inlet port as well, so it's been a pretty grubby machine. Hook our throttle linkage up. I'll put that throttle cable in a stupid place anyway. Push him on. Got 2 bolts, got a 1/2 inch one and a 3/8 one. I like to start both of them. Now, you know the thing's lined up. Oh, we're sort of out of view, aren't we? Oopsie daisy. There we go. So we've got our 3/8 bolt, our 1/2 inch bolt, our governor linkage hooked up. Just snug them up for now. Does help to tighten them up a little bit. These ones have a habit of coming loose. Problem is when the bolts come loose, the tank and carburetor weighs down on the inlet manifold, which is made out of plastic and can cause them to crack. Alright, so we'll put some fuel in it, clean spark plug. We'll just see how this engine runs. I already know it's not going to run well, but just to show a point of view. Okay, I haven't cleaned the spark plug. We'll just see if it'll send. Yeah, we'll clean our spark plug. Alright, try again. I think that's pretty self-explanatory on the condition of that motor. Okay, not going to be much talking here. Get it done. This is the other one. So, already, clean air filter, nice. Clean carburetor throat, nice. This should be one. If I was the garage sale, it pulls over, makes minimal amount of noise. I think it's a halfway reasonable cant in it doing up. I got these things that cheap, it doesn't matter. If I see something like that other one there, it's got a decent rod knock like that, and I see it for $10 or less, I'm going to buy it anyway. Why? Because it is cheap parts. But at the end of the day, it's not going to give you that sweet reward at the end when you sell it. Oh, it will, because I'm going to put a new engine on it. Take that out to sit out of the way. Change it to 3/8. So originally from the factory, they also have a cable tie around the throat of the carb holding the throttle cable on. It's not ideal, but it works. Just stops it stretching out as much. Is that throttle cable any good? It will be. I'll I'll straighten it out. I'll just take him off. I need more cable cutters. What have we got? Oh yeah, cutters. Tools actually where I need the beef ones. Righto. This tank looks like it's in alright condition, so they can just go on the shelf to get rebuilt. I like to have one sitting there ready to go, but I didn't today. Someone's been a bit lazy. Sometimes your O-ring washer pops off. No big deal. Okay. Come out just a fraction. Our tube here's a little bit loose. Fix that up after. Put our other tank and carb on. Our governor spring's been stretched to buggery on this one, so I might just pinch him off the other mower. Where's the hole? There it is. Got that one started. I'll put this other one in, do it straight up. Didn't get our elbow on there. Don't matter. It is now. Okay. Just check the oil. Plain oil. Bonus. Oh, this thing's been serviced. Alright, I'll just quickly check the plug. We'll take this one out, test it. Alright. Throttle in the run position. Someone's disconnected the kill wire, so just... Anyway, whatever. So I think we get the picture. That's night and day compared from that to that. So we'll start off with this one. I think it's time for a quick clean up. Going to strip that carb off, strip the top cowling off, strip the exhaust off, and then just pressure blast everything. Drop the oil, check the blades, and then clean up the parts as we put it back on. Alright, so someone's probably going to ask why drop the oil if it's clean. I just thought of that then. You don't know what weight it is. So someone could have put in 5W30 or 5W20 or something, which 38 weight oil is what they use, but they could have put in something like 20W50 where it's a bit thicker than what it needs. I like to stick with what they're designed for if they're running well, which is just SAE 30. So just to put it out there. That's much better. We'll let that dry for a bit. I've actually got to go inside and order some parts for it. I was wondering why there was so much oil caked on everything. I'll roll it up and have a quick look at the blades. And our bottom crankshaft seals failed. So, unfortunately, at the end of this video, the mower's not going to be ready for sale. I'm still going to have to change that crankshaft seal. But luckily, because these bolts have been soaked in oil for so long, the blade plate should come off fairly well. The rovers have a bad habit of snapping these bolts off the three smaller. They're imperial thread, but they're about M6 size, so they're only tiny little buggers. But these ones should come undone nicely. Put some blades on there. I'll run it today. Just got to keep an eye on the oil level. But before I sell it, I'm going to have to change that little crankshaft seal up in there. Alright, there's a freshly painted muffler for him. Here's the starter cowling. I thought I'll give it a bit of a while. It's never going to look perfect again, but it'll look better. Just masked off the stickers, even though they're faded. I'll just have some stickers on there still. And so any black paint I've got laying around the front, it's a waste of paint, but it'll do the job. That's much nicer. I'll give it one more coat, and put a rope in it, and it'll be ready to bolt back onto the engine. So if that's the original cowling, it's a manufacture date of 1999. 20 years now. Righto. String. How are we going to do this one today? Plenty of different ways to do it. Now we'll do it this way. Tie a knot in it. Don't sit behind me. Stop sniffing my ear. Excellent. Tie a knot in it. Not a tight one, just to hold it. Try and get the old rope out of the old pull knot. Which I should have done beforehand, but anyway. Find a small screwdriver and poke that through. Someone's borrowed my screwdriver, so then put them back. That's what we need. There we go. Shut up. There we go. Let's put this tape off. one nice, reasonably reconditioned starter. So we can bolt it back on. Just watch you don't pinch your spark plug leads when you put these things back on. There we go. Alright, I've got some governor springs here. That other one was all bent up. It's just like a throttle stabilizer spring. Some people call it an idle spring, but basically getting a little bit of surging, it does just try and help to stop the throttle or the governor wandering as much as it might. Yeah, get this little bugger on. There we have it. Might need to put a little bit of tension on this one. Should be right though. Okay, we'll get this exhaust and fit him back up. And I forgot to hit record. Anyway. Made to overdo it. Knock these tabs back over. You'll see where I missed with the paint, but anyway, hey bastard. Don't have to be perfect. The whole idea of bending them tabs is to stop the bolts rattling less so they don't be over tightened. Alright, so I've just got to do an air filter, top the oil up, and we're going to run it for a bit. That'll be it for today's video. I can't do the crankshaft seal for a week or so when it turns up. Air filter's already clean, I might just paint the top of it. It's an old metal style one. Righto, time for our first start. We took this one for a run yesterday afternoon. It's the next day now. Done quite a bit of mowing with it actually. It's got one annoying fault. It just tends to sputter and pick back up, every 5-10 seconds. It's not like you're hunting like when it's got a really bad diaphragm and revs up and down, up and down, up and down. But it is annoying, so I'm going to dive back into it. Not necessarily do it on camera, but I've tried and used spark plug, didn't make a difference. I've got a feeling it's carburetor related, and if I can confirm it, I'll show you what the results are. much better. Couldn't find actually anything physically wrong with the carburetor we originally put on there, but I just switched out another unit, reused the same diaphragm and tank, and it's running like a clock. So that's it for today, and thanks for watching.